Good morning. Let's all center ourselves, close our eyes, and we all know and trust God is omnipotent. There is no power greater. God is omnipresent. There is no place, no space, no person where God is not present. God is omniscient. God is all-knowing. There is no information, no wisdom, no knowledge that does not exist in and of as God. God is present here in this space, which I bless, in this Zoom room, which I bless, in every chair for everyone watching, and in every room that they inhabit. God is present, and those spaces are blessed. I am knowing and trusting that I am here in this space, in this blessed space, and that each and every heart is open to receive this message, and that each and every person is open to share this message with the world around them, spreading the light that is this message that is God. I release these words, and so it is.
I'm often asked what I believe. I want to take the time to express my beliefs so that I can be heard and understood, but it's not always that easy. Because what I believe does not revolve around a story. It can't be defined by a specific historical event. It has never been completely explained by any one person. There is no ultimate authority on the subject but me. I believe in spiritual living. Above all else, it is a philosophy that urges me to focus on how to think, not what to think. It invites me to practice this philosophy and apply it to my life right now. It is not placed in the history of the world, though it draws from many great teachers of the past. It does not predict my future, though it assures me success by living with principles. My view of God is not that of a person or personality, but my philosophy allows me to accept that this may be true for others. My relationship with God is a personal one, though I know everyone also has this same relationship. I believe that God is all that there is. Every person, place, and thing is not only an expression of God, but God itself. It is also everything that cannot be seen, felt, heard, or otherwise identified in physical form. It is the intelligence that tells the seed to grow, the flower to blossom, the electron to circle the nucleus, and the world to turn as it revolves around the sun. I believe God is the absolute presence that not only creates, but is itself all things. Because I know this, I am able to recognize that presence in and as me. Everything that I am on every level is God. All the love that there could be is in me now. All the peace that could ever be is within me now. All the beauty of the world lives in me as the presence of God right now. I know this of you too. I know that you are just as divine, just as lovely, and just as beautiful, because God is within you as well. Together, we are all connected by this one presence that I choose to call God. This means you are my brother, my sister. This means we are truly one. I also believe in a spiritual law. This means that, much like the law of gravity, there is something I cannot see that affects my life. These spiritual laws are constantly operating regardless of how conscious of them I may or may not be. It also means that I can work with these laws to reach a desired outcome. While many people may tell me what these laws are and how they work, I know that the only way to know them as my own is to practice working with them. Much like an experiment, my faith allows me to apply my philosophy to my life every day and to pay attention to how it works. As I live in love, I see love revealed in and given to me, flowing through the world around me. As I practice peace, I observe the blessing that calm and order can provide to any situation in my life. As I practice approaching the world as a beautiful blessing, it is clear to me that those I encounter feel blessed themselves. This is how I think, not what I think. I believe that being conscious of these facts gives me the blessed opportunity to live my life from principles that exemplify God's greatness in and as my life. My philosophy reminds me to see the world from this place and to act as a citizen of a spiritual community at all times. I know that as I do so, that God is constantly supplying all that is needed to bring me success. This could never really explain everything, I believe, because it is my life and who I am. You may still have many questions about what I believe, and I want nothing more than to share this part of myself with you. It is a blessing to have the chance to share my beliefs with you so I can be understood, and it is my gift to be open to understanding you. I would never tell you what you should believe, but I will always invite you to learn more with me. I will never tell you that you are wrong, but I will always honor your path as your own. I can never give you all the answers, but I will constantly remind you that the answers are already within you. I believe in God, I believe in myself, and I believe in you too, because I believe in spiritual living.
Good morning. I'm Corliss Serber, and I am a spiritual practitioner for the Center for Spiritual Living, and it's my privilege to give the Sunday talk for today. The monthly themes for this month have been living as a compassionate conduit, and today's weekly talk title is The Grateful and Cheerful Receiver. I always like to start with a joke, so we'll see how funny this one is. This is called God is Left-Handed. Little Philip, he was spending the weekend with his grandmother, whom he loved dearly. After a very trying week at his infant school, his grandmother decided, I'm going to take him to the park on Saturday morning. Well, it had been snowing all night, and everything was so beautiful. His grandmother commented, "Philip, doesn't it look like an artist painted this just for you?" And the little boy said, "Well, God did it, and he did it left-handed." This really confused his grandma. So she asked him, "Well, what makes you think that God painted this left-handed?" "Well," said Philip, "we learned at Sunday school last week that Jesus sits on God's right hand." Where's a little compassion when you need it? Because today's talk is about being a compassionate conduit and a very loving receiver. There isn't a person on earth that I feel not only lives this way, but shows us how to live in such a way as the Dalai Lama. Here's what his compassionate definition is. And he says, love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. Only the development of compassion and understanding for others can bring us the tranquility and happiness we all seek. And he said this in Compassion is the Radicalism of Our Time. Interesting title. February 12th, 2019. Well, that's the definition I'm using today for compassion. Then there is the definition for conduit. And it said in the dictionary, that old-fashioned thing that we don't go up and look at anymore since we go online, a natural passageway. That's what a conduit is. So you put the two together and you have voila. A compassionate conduit involves at least the following. Choosing to be the best you can be from a solid place from within, so you live with ease, you live with grace, just as this quote says. And this is called I Choose Love. Everything I see is either an act of love or a call for love. I shine light upon the darkness, and I bring joy to the surface, dropping drama and picking up love. I can again claim happiness and peace within. I choose to bring love to the situation that tempts me to follow fear. Love is my ultimate intention, and so I choose to live in a loving world. Well, who would not want to live in the embrace of that quote? I know I want to live in the embrace of that quote, because then we can be a compassionate conduit that involves allowing ourselves to be moved by suffering and experiencing that motivation to help alleviate and prevent it. And thirdly, an act of compassion is defined by something as simple as helpfulness. And there are certain qualities of compassion. I want you to close your eyes for a second and just picture these qualities in your mind. Patience, wisdom, kindness, perseverance, warmth, and resolve. Are you seeing that in your mind's eye? Are you connecting that with your beautiful heart so that your mind and heart are melded together, envisioning these beautiful qualities? You know, Ernest Holmes has many beautiful quotes that give us guides for life. And this quote is his on this topic. Quote, "Suppose we make a daily habit of feeling that we like people and they like us. We belong to them and they belong to us. In a very real sense, everyone we meet is part of our own family, to love and to enjoy. Let's then meditate daily on this thought." And that's what we're doing here in a very minute sense, meditating on what compassion is made up of: patience, wisdom, kindness, perseverance, warmth, and resolve. And this quote was taken from Practical Wisdom by Ernest Holmes. And you know, it says in the Bible, apparently many different places, but certainly in Corinthians 9, 6, 7, that we are each meant as a conduit, as being a cheerful giver. Think about that. We are religious scientists. We know about the laws of the universe, and we know about the law of circulation. That giving, that receiving is reciprocal. There's that ebb and flow, that yin and yang. Because the truth is, when we accept that we are in this flow that is God given to us, what we are that. We are not outside of that, not left, not right, to the back. We are it right here and right now. And that's how we get to be a compassionate conduit. I'd like to tell you a story. It's a story from my real life when I was teaching at an alternative high school. And there was a boy that had certain language that started with F this and S that and whatever. And every time I heard something, I thought, no, this cannot go on. And so I asked if I could talk with him outside. I had it portable and we could stand right there outside the door. And he reluctantly walked up there with his face of granite, and he thought he was going to get punished, right? And so I looked him right in the eye and I said, "Is there any reason why you really don't like me as an English teacher?" And he shook his head. And I said, "Well, I want to tell you something. It's a truth about me. Do you want to hear it?" He nodded his head. What happened is, I said, "Do you like to get a shot when you go to the doctor?" And he sort of got a smirky smile, shook his head. So I said, "You know, when I was little, we had a doctor that used to come to our house, and he had a little black bag, and he'd walk up the walk. Well, every time I saw him, I knew I was going to get a shot, and it made me feel very scared and icky." And he kind of looked at me like, why am I telling him this story? Well, here's the key. With compassion, with kindness, with perseverance, with warmth, I said to him, every time I hear this word, every time I hear you say that word, I feel like I'm getting a shot. Do you know his face fell? It just softened just like that. And we had a little compassionate talk right then. And he did really well in my class. He even took it again because you could take it more than once to make up credits. And do you know that he actually was sitting probably in the second row when we were at Valley College for the graduation, and I was walking by. He was in his robes, I was in my robe, and he goes like this. And you remember that with Carol Burnett going like this with your earlobe? Because I said that day on the porch of the room, do you want me to give you a little hint? I can go like this if, it's time to switch, and I wouldn't ever have to say anything. Well, I hardly ever had to say anything by touching my ear. Thank you, Carol Burnett. And this boy graduated, and what he did was he went like this as I walked by. Now, isn't that a wonderful way to correct a situation? Now, think about this. I used patience, right? I used wisdom. I used kindness, certainly perseverance, warmth, and I used resolve because I wanted that situation resolved. And Ernest Holmes said this about that. The universe is impersonal. It gives alike to all. It is no respecters of persons. It values each alike. Its nature is to impart, ours to receive. I'm going to read that part again. Its nature is to impart, and it's ours to receive. When we stand in the light, we cast a shadow across the pathway of our own experience. Now, isn't that exactly what that story with my student illustrates? And just to have a little bit further point, because I love Ralph Waldo Emerson. And our beloved founder, Dr. Holmes, he had many shoulders of great wisdom that he stood upon. And Ralph Waldo said, quote, "Get our bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits." So in summary about this particular point, I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to ask you true or false, and I want you to decide. So I always like to close my eyes to intake it. So if you'd like to join me, close your eyes. True or false? It is a deeply embedded part of our nature to know how to receive. True or false? True or false? It's one of our great and beautiful birthrights as living creatures. True or false? Yet sometimes we, for any number of reasons, do not believe that we can receive good. And true or false? Or we believe that our only value is in giving. Yes, I have another personal story about that. In 2003, my husband and I were living in the mountains of San Bernardino. And there was a huge fire lasting many, many days, and our home was one of the homes that was completely destroyed in the fire. Well, I want to tell you, our community in so many ways, personally and professionally, through Ron's experience, through my experience, through our experience, came to us and said, and they thought they were saying it for the first time, but each of them said, "We want to give to you. You always gave to us. We need to give to you. It's important that we give to you." And Ron and I we're no choice. We had to receive. But you know what? It really helped both of us become better in the cycle of the law of circulation. It helped us be the best we could be. It helped us to use our own compassion to be receiving in compassion as a conduit, just like all our friends and family wanted to be the giving part at that, because they receive something in the giving too, of course. I know we all know what that's like. And that was a very important lesson in both Ron's and my life. And you know what? In life, there comes a time when we each have to have a call to action. A call to action means to me that I know my point A, but I'm sort of stuck in fear in some way, and I'm not willing to go along to get to a new point B until I do or feel something to do it. But you know, when you're living in the flow, when you're living in just as I described so far in this Sunday talk, there are certain questions you can ask yourself to help you get unstuck. And here they are. I suggest definitely close your eyes. How do you see yourself as a compassionate conduit? What are your values? What are your actions? What drives you to be the best you can be with the virtues of empathy, understanding, and helping another? Because you know that you know that you know that that so-called other is totally a part of yourself. I'm sure you know who Dr. Brene Brown is. She's a renowned researcher in this field of compassion and self-compassion and vulnerability and shame. And she had a lot to say about this particular topic today. And one thing she said is this, quote, "When I examined my research, I discovered that there were people who deeply believed that they were worthy of love and belonging. These folks had certain characteristics. These folks believed, get that, they believed this regardless of the circumstances. Unlike some of us in our lives, okay, I'm worthy of love and belonging a little bit, but I'll be super worthy if I get promoted, or I'll be super worthy if I lose those 20 pounds. Now, who has been there and done that? The truth is, these folks, she said, believed that they were lovable and that they had a place in the world. And those beliefs translated into specific choices that they made every day to help them be that beautiful, giving, joyful, compassionate conduit of receiving. They recognized shame. But you know what? They didn't wallow in it. They dealt with it. They recognized vulnerability, but they were willing to feel it rather than ignore or numb it. I don't know about you, but I always want to live my best life. And my best life tells me that I always want to have a semi-plan, if not an overt plan, inner and outer, that matches, that says I can go from my point A to my point B in ease and grace. So here are some suggestions that you can choose, because it is all a matter of choice. You can choose to do it today, this week, anytime, because every moment is a moment of now. Every moment is in the beginning God. And every moment we are each born human as a gift. And this gift said we are each the Spirit expressing in each moment of God. No separation. We are. So there's 10 ways, 10 easy ways to show up as a compassionate conduit that is a giving and a receiving mode. Open the door for someone, either literally or metaphorically. Motivate others. Practice a random act of kindness, and practice kindness just as first and foremost as one of your ideals that you live by every single day. Allocate time to bond with your friends, bond with your family. Be the kind of person that always says the encouraging word and never says the opposite. And I don't know how you're going to do it today, but sharing a hug, maybe virtually, that kind of thing, of course. And you know, one of the easiest ways to be in the flow of what this conduit is, this compassionate conduit, is to be a phrase that we know. Not just say it, but be it. Thank you. Because being in gratitude is at the very source of it all. Thank you. And you know what? Be open to helping somebody with their own to-do list in any way that you can. In finishing up, Brené Brown further says, the findings suggest that what causes the ability to receive as well as give is whether or not, listen to this, is whether or not people believe they are lovable at a core truth. Do we believe we are irrefutably lovable and valuable? That we don't need any benchmark of success to prove it? Because when we know that we know that I know, our value, and we are moving in touch with our feelings, both those that we label as positive and negative, then that helps us become these wholehearted receivers of good and givers of good. So in conclusion, when we can welcome our own vulnerability and the vulnerability of others, we are well on our way to being a grateful and cheerful receiver of goodness. My call to action for you today is, let's take this on. Let's cultivate our tenderness. Tune into God's rhythm, that ebb, that flow of life, just waiting to course through us. And we can say this affirmation together. I stand with my body. I stand with my body and heart open to goodness. And I know that there is nothing that separates me from the river of life, that flows through me as I give and receive. And we can go right into prayer with our eyes closed, listening with our compassionate hearts. As I bask in the perfection and oneness of divine presence, I know that love, peace, and joy are the essential attributes of my life and all life. The infinite presence is the singular source of all that is. From this presence, all time and space, all form and function emerge. This presence dwells in, through, and as everything and everyone, including me. As I awaken more deeply to this profound awareness, I speak my word of God, unleashing the infinite power and creation that initiates perfectly at the point of me. I see my life bursting forth with enormous energy and enthusiasm to do what is mine to do. I exist to express whatever fosters a better life for me and a better world for everyone. I am a conduit of supreme compassion. My heart is open to comfort those who experience strife and struggle, to forgive those who aren't remembering how to forgive themselves, and to raise to those who have lost their way in the distractions and illusions of the human condition. All are the same divine presence, I am. I listen with my heart wide open and always hear what I am asked to hear. I speak with clarity and understanding, taking into account the concerns and desires of those I serve. Most of all, I see the God before me as one who is finding their way regardless of any appearance and conditions that may seem to be the contrary. I am here in service of God, to God, and continue to show up in vastly diverse, unexpected ways. This is a great blessing in my life, and I am forever living in a service-filled life with love, peace, and joy. I am grateful to know only the best for myself and for everyone I am support of, and I am grateful for my understanding of life and for all the beloveds who share this journey of awakening with me. I release my word into loving care and loving law, knowing that what this expression is already so, and you and I can affirm this by saying, and so it is.
Thank you very kind. Thank you very kind for that, Corliss. That was wonderful. You can do online giving by texting GIVE to 951-420-6909, or you can go to our website at cslbeaumont.org and click on the donate button at the top or the bottom of the screen. And you can mail your donation for Center for Spiritual Living, 802 Maple Avenue, Beaumont, California, 92223. If you enjoyed this service and are watching on YouTube or Facebook, please like and share this video and add a comment on it. And if you haven't already on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and hit the little notification bell to be updated when we post new content. For those on Zoom, please visit our Facebook page to comment and share to help spread this message. Thank you.